Okay guys, let's do this. It's time. I mean, this is the kind of thing that won't really have any future effect because, I mean, I don't expect this video to actually, per se, stop any tabloids, and I just made a complete mess on my desk. I don't actually expect this video to, per se, stop the tabloids or completely change the minds of the really, really unintelligent and uneducated people. However, this is the kind of thing I'm making because I'm entirely overly pissed off because there's been a ton of tabloids lately. There's probably been more tabloids in the past week than there's been in Michael Jackson's entire fucking life. So, with that being said, I have gathered all the information I need with the help of a couple of my YouTube viewers. I will name you Meg, Elisa, and I think there's a couple others. Thank you very much for your help in this research. First thing I want to say is, if any MJ haters think that we are a bunch of stupid fucks, I want to let you know that here at Matt's FTR, my viewers are actually very much intelligent, mature adults. I actually have many viewers on my channel who themselves work as lawyers, so don't think you can possibly fuck with us, okay? This has been a long time coming, and it's time to finally give all the proof that there is in the entire world proving Michael Jackson's innocence. And that's what's going to be happening here on this channel today. First thing we're going to do is we're going to be reading through an article that directly comments on the fact of all the tabloids that have been coming in the news lately. This article is called The Mirror, the People, and the Settlement That Never Was. It's a funny thing. Ever since the high-profile Michael Jackson death trial started going pear-shaped for promoters AEG Live, a lot of newspapers which carry prominent and lucrative advertising for its event have become more intent on smearing Michael Jackson than ever. Yeah, I mean, the first thing that these Michael Jackson haters can't seem to process in their stupid fucking heads is that, have you not noticed that things have gone a lot worse for the Michael Jackson community since the AEG trial started? This is not a fucking coincidence. It was pre-planned. AEG knew they were going to get fucked in this trial, so they brought all this stuff out, including Wade. I told you that before, Wade is fucking paid. And to you fucking Wade Robson supporters, allies of Wade Robson, fuck you, Mike. You're a piece of shit, and I'm going to prove you wrong. Yes, I made another video against you, link below to watch that video, but we're going to go into more detail because of how stupid, fucking feebly stupid and hypocritical you are. Your entire page just is giving away PS3s because you're so desperate to have supporters. You're a stupid asshole. Leading the way has been The Mirror in the UK. The UK, the king of all fucking tabloids. A few weeks ago, contemporaneous emails presented at the trial showed that AEG boss Randy Phillips had slapped Michael Jackson because he was scared about attending a press conference. Slapped him and screamed at him so loud the walls shook. So loud the walls shook. I said a lot about Randy Phillips. Watch my video titled AEG Trial Update. Link in the description. The shocking revelations was widely ignored by the press. Several days after the evidence was heard in the open court, only one outlet had summoned the courage to publish it. AP did not include testimony in its daily missive from the courtroom. The Wire's reporter claimed on Twitter he had been out of the courtroom sending emails when the testimony occurred. It was only when fans started making noise about the cover-up on sites like Twitter that other media companies grudgingly published the comments. AEG-sponsored newspapers like The Mirror, though, bizarrely tried to paint Michael Jackson as the bad guy. Like they always fucking do. Because they got nothing better to do. Do you guys even know how the media works? I'll explain it to you in a few minutes. According to the first time of Mirror story, Jackson needed to be slapped. Excuse me? Interesting, The Mirror was a lot faster to publish a story. Last year, accusing Janet Jackson of slapping a minor, a story which turned out to be a lie. This weekend, days after Jackson's son took the stand and testified that he saw Phillips in his home while his father was not there, behaving aggressively towards Jackson's doctor. Ooh! I never even knew that. So Randy behaved aggressive towards Conrad Murray? Oh. So doesn't that insinuate that he had some kind of connection to Murray before the death, even though Randy Phillips claimed to have no connection at all? Let's continue. The Mirror Sunday edition called The People is at it again. It has published a highly misleading story about some FBI files which allegedly show Michael Jackson was witnessed molestation children by multiple Neverland employees. The FBI files also Also, a detailed supposed settlement with a young accuser in 1992 before the Jordan Chandler case. That's interesting. So now there is another accuser before Jordan Chandler. I'd like to point out that I love how every accuser in the entire world, all 24 of them, wanted money and nothing else. You know, unless there's a lot of greedy people in the fucking world, this is obviously just a tabloid. Oh, wait a minute, it is. It was proven that the FBI files were fake. So Wade, I guess you can't get your hands on them. Link below proving that the FBI files were fake and Michael Jackson did not molest 24 boys and pay them off for $35 million. Another fucking tabloid lost to you, motherfucker. Enjoy it, because it has no relevance now. Oh my god. In reality, the story is a nonsense. A bird's nest of mangled and misstated accusations which are neither new nor exclusive, despite the people's repeated claims that they are. In fact, the documents are not FBI files at all. This is a flat-out lie. Moreover, the claims have all been in the public domain for a very long time, some having been discredited 2 decades ago. You know, I love when they dig up old news. Kind of like that really, really old tabloid I read online. It was so stupid I laughed at it. It was said that some guy went into Neverland, dug up a skeleton with a glove on it, which turned out to be Michael Jackson's body. And they claimed that ever since the body was dug up, because it claimed that Michael Jackson died in 1985, in the early 90s, an alien came down to Earth, which is the white Michael Jackson, molested kids and did all these horrible things, and that's who Michael Jackson was from 1990 to 2009. I'm not making this shit up. Of course, most readers won't bother to fact check the story. Why would they? The newspaper is supposed to do that before publishing it. Sadly, it seems other media outlets can't be bothered either. Britain's Mail newspaper has already rehashed the story, evidently making no attempt to investigate its veracity before doing so. I could go into a whole lot of denial about the claims made by the people and the various lazy journalists like Diane Diamond, who copy and paste its story hundreds of, or perhaps thousands of times onto their own websites and into their own newspapers in the coming days. But what is the point? The info is already in the public domain. Those who hate Jackson will adopt the people's story as evidence for their case. Those with an interest in hearing both sides of Jackson's case will already know that their claims were debunked a long time ago. Nobody else will even bother to research the story. The people's readers buy the newspaper because they like it and trust it. They, as intended, will believe the story and will not question it. Well, guess what? Michael Jackson fans will, because we like a little thing called research. Briefly, however, for the record, number 1, the FBI files are not FBI files. They are transcripts of interviews compiled by a tabloid journalist who paid his sources, including one who turned out to not exist. They were acquired by a PI who worked for Jackson's defense team. A decade later, he was prosecuted for tapping phones. The FBI seized all of his files, of which these tabloid interviews formed a minuscule part. How freaking nice is that? These are facts, not what you little people like to claim. The allegation of Jackson's being caught by multiple employers do not, as the people infer, come from a host of different documents. They all come from one document, a transcript of an interview with a couple called the Lemarquis, who worked at Neverland in the late 80s and early 90s. The people intentionally does not state that all of these uncorroborated accusations come from just one of the documents, instead purposely misleading readers and suggesting that they are taken from a cache of evidence. The Lemarquis never contacted police about the abuse they claim to have witnessed, instead opting to negotiate deals with tabloid newspapers including the Mirror. Isn't that interesting? You saw Michael Jackson molest someone, and instead of calling it in, you sell it to a tabloid. Tell me how this does not scream, I'm lying! Their claims were investigated by cops probing Jackson, who found the couple had agreed to add increasingly graphic details to their interviews for more and more money. No kidding. Investigators concluded in the 90s that their pair had no credibility and possessed no evidence of any genuine abuse. They were called out on a desperation to testify in Jackson's 2005 trial after prosecutors watched their case begin to disintegrate but were destroyed under cross-examination. Jurors rejected their testimony and acquitted Jackson anonymously. Number 3. The supposed settlement in 1992 was detailed to a tabloid reporter for money by a female source who claimed to work for Jordan Chandler's legal firm. She never showed the reporter a document, she simply read it out over the phone. A police investigation into the claim found that the boy named in the settlement did not exist. There were no record of any settlement ever being paid, and the female source had never worked for the legal firm and in fact did not exist. She was never heard of again. This leaves one element of the people's story standing, that Jackson allegedly, what a convenient little word that is. I like that too, how they call it allegedly because they have no proof. Paid $35 million to 2 dozen young accusers. The newspaper presents no evidence to corroborate this claim, just a note in the tabloid reporter's documents, which the people initially misrepresents as an FBI file. So there's your proof. The FBI file was fake, it never existed, and I absolutely love how there were 2 people in particular who wanted these FBI files, both Wade Robson and Wade Robson's little support claim. What were you going to do, dissect something that didn't exist so that it'll fit your own little bullshit? Buddy, I'm sorry. You're going to have to, unfortunately for you, both Wade and his little clown posse is going to have to make all of their claims based on assumptions, because there's never going to be any fact to back you up. The closest thing you ever had to a fact were FBI files that aren't even real. You've already been owned, but believe me, I'm not finished with you yet. The next thing I want to talk about is I want to give you guys a little bit of background on what the media actually does, because you don't seem to understand it very well. The media is run by the Illuminati, okay? The whole point of the media when it comes to musicians is they like to, when a musician is new, let's take Justin Bieber for example, because right now he's like the most famous person in the world. During Justin Bieber's stupid, very short career, he was made the most famous person in the world. Because of his talent? Fuck no. But why was he made so famous? Because the media pushed him to the front of the spotlight. They put Justin Bieber everywhere. They wanted to build Justin Bieber out to be really, 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 really big in his generation, to make as much money as possible. Once he's up at the top, made some money, became really famous, got 13-year-old girls to wet themselves, then what they do is they cut down that celebrity. Justin Bieber is already being cut down because the media is already done with him. Michael Jackson has been the most famous artist in the entire world for 45 years. Okay? And because of this, they brought him up. In the late 80s was his peak. And right when it hit the 90s, his life turned to shit. Coincidence? Don't fucking tell me it is. If you people have half a brain, you will know that it's not a coincidence. The media was in on it from day one. The media knew what was going to happen. They supported Chandler. They wanted to destroy Michael. They couldn't do it because he was too powerful. But the media's been wanting to destroy Michael since day one. Okay? You people need a serious lesson on exactly what the media is. Okay? The media, all they do is they create tabloids to destroy an artist. Okay? They build the artist up to make them money, and then they destroy them down because they know that they're going to decrease after a little bit anyway. And then the idea of destroying them is now to make money off of the articles themselves as opposed to the actual artist. Okay? That's how the media works. And I wish that these people, these Michael Jackson haters understood this. But it seems they never will. But I really hope if any of them are watching this, they can finally change their mind and realize the facts. Okay? Now, we're going to go talk about Wade Robson now. A long time ago, I analyzed the Today's Show interview. I made a couple of vlogs talking about it where I pointed out some things, but I never really gave a full analysis on it. If you want to watch a very professional body language analysis by James Baxter, click the link below to watch his analysis proving Wade to be a liar. There's also another body language analyzer who claimed that Wade was telling the truth. One of the most prominent areas of her explanation of Wade was how in one part of the video she pauses it and goes, "Look at the sweat on Wade's face. He's sweating. That means he's telling the truth." That's what this woman said. Her name is Lillian. That video, linked below as well. The problem here, Lillian, is that sweating in that context, what was going on in the interview, is usually because you're nervous. People are not nervous when they are telling the truth. Understand? They're not. People are nervous and anxious when they are lying. Wade was sweating because he was lying. Okay? That's how the body works. You sweat when you're anxious and nervous, and people are not nervous when they are telling the truth. Okay? Now let's give a little bit of analysis on the interview itself. Wade claims that he was silent and living in denial. How is that possible if you only recently came to terms with the reality of it? Your story doesn't add up, buddy. You admit that you lied in court back in 2005. Do you have any remorse for that, Wade? Do you have any remorse? I haven't heard a word of remorse, but you claim to be so genuine. Usually when people are victims of abuse, or realize they are victims of abuse, they don't feel strong like Wade is trying to do. They feel weak and vulnerable, because that's what happens. You realize that you were this victim because you had this repressed, not repressed memory. I apologize. But when it finally comes to, when you finally come to terms and it comes to your mind, most victims, real victims, will feel weak and vulnerable, not strong and liberated like this bastard claims he was. Okay? He stated in an interview that he was living in denial and silence, yet states he didn't know it was wrong. So what were you living in denial about? You were living in denial and silence, which means you knew what happened, but you were being quiet about it. But if you didn't realize what was happening, what were you quiet about? Your story doesn't add up. How can you Wade supporters support this prick? What is wrong with you, Mike? Another aspect in court proving he's lying is that he was never asked if molestation was right or wrong. He was asked specific things happen. He was asked, like, did Michael touch you here? Did Michael do this? Did Michael do that? Okay? And he denied it. He said no to specific questions. Okay? So him saying he denied it only because he didn't understand it doesn't make any sense. Okay? It's an irrelevant point. Okay, next. So you go from your reason defending him being because you did what was right and were defending a friend, and now you only said what you were able to say. That doesn't make any sense. Which one is it? He claimed in the interview that he didn't understand what happened was wrong, yet denied it straight in court, knowing it was wrong. Because why else would he deny it? If he thought the abuse was normal at the time, then why not state it regardless? Because if it was normal, why not state it happened? Assuming it happened, he never stated it happening because he knew there would be negative effects happening, and thus proving he knew it was wrong. Okay, so today's show interview has been dissected and completely proven wrong. Wade, it's over, buddy. It's completely over. Alright. Now let's go through a couple other things. First thing on my list, we're going to talk about two things that Michael Jackson haters love to bring up. Number one is how Jordan Chandler knew about the splotch on Michael Jackson's penis. I'm going to read an excerpt from an article. That article, link below. Okay, how could Jordan Chandler learn of any splotches on Michael's body? Easily, on February 10, 1993, Michael Jackson spoke to Oprah Winfrey and disclosed to 100 million people watching that show he had extensive case of vitiligo, which stated about, he had splotches all over his body, okay? After such a revelation, it was no problem to assume that Michael had blotches all over his body, including genitalia. So, it's also common sense. But Jordan Chandler knew exactly where the splotch was, on his penis. So let's continue, shall we? Jordan Chandler also said to Anthony Pellicano, you're a fucking asshole, by the way, who asked him how much he had seen of Michael's body, that Michael had once lifted his shirt to show his vitiligo, evidently on his chest or back. This notable conversation is described by Maureen Orth in one of her filthy articles. Okay? We gotta talk about... Well, sorry, I apologize. There's a part here. Okay, here we go. From the book by Evan's father, Ray Chandler, we also learn that the night Michael Jackson stayed in Evan's home, when he allegedly saw MJ in one bed with Jordan, Michael had such a terrible headache that Evan made an injection in Michael's butt of a drug which immediately made Michael dazed, sleepy, and almost unconscious. He said it was Toradol, but the reaction to it was totally untypical. Which makes you wonder, yeah, so obviously the drug was not what Evan claimed it was, okay? It also makes you wonder whether Michael could get into bed by himself after that, which means that Evan probably carried him into bed with his son to make it look like he did something wrong with him, okay? Whatever the case, yeah, so when this happened, when he gave the injection in his butt or on his penis or whatever it was, Evan, and he may even turn Michael over, Evan obviously saw the splotches there, and that's how Jordan knew, because Evan told him. Okay? So for all the Michael Jackson haters who come up to me and go, well, how did Jordan Chandler know about the splotch? There you go. Read it yourself, link below. Okay? Next. Reverting back to Wade Robson again, we're going to go to a little article here, which I absolutely love, and I was sent by a fan. When I read this, I swear to God, I almost punched my fucking screen. Let's continue. See, now before I read this, I wanted to mention how ridiculous tabloids are. You Michael Jackson haters really need to get a grip on reality. A tabloid is an article, okay, released by the media or a journalist or whatever, that is a blatant lie for the purpose of getting money. You have to be able to think and realize which tabloids are true and which tabloids are false, okay? This is what intelligent people do. You read an article, a tabloid, and you do research, okay? But I'm going to make it even easier for you because I know you're not able to think very well. MJ haters, listen to me. Seriously, listen to me. This isn't just about researching. The fact that there is constant tabloids, okay, about Michael Jackson, and many of them have been proven wrong, some haven't been proven wrong. But the reason that you can almost assume that the some that hasn't been proven wrong yet are in fact wrong is because why are there so many put out there that are proven wrong? That are proven wrong with facts, okay? And a lot of them are just ridiculous to begin with, like this one here, and I'll read it in a second. But you have to think logically sometimes, okay? There are many articles out there. Many articles throughout all the years. I mean, this goes back as far as the Elephant Man's bones and the Shrine to Elizabeth Taylor and the hyperbaric chamber, and claiming he bleached his skin when he actually had vitiligo. You know, MJ haters will say he bleached his skin because he hated black people, which isn't true. Okay, when his skin was almost turning white around the bad era, he had to cover his whole body in makeup, and eventually him and Karen Faye were like, fuck it, let's just bleach the remainder of it. He didn't hate black people, okay? You have to read into things. Understand me? You have to read things. You have to research. You have to put things together. You can't just read a tabloid and assume it to be true, okay? But anyway, this article here is one of the examples of how fucked up tabloids can get. Mike, you posted this on your Wade Robson support page, proving that you are completely incapable of thought. Michael Jackson's sex accuser claims dad killed himself after being destroyed by alleged abuse. Wade Robson's dad killed himself in torment over the alleged sexual abuse his son suffered, Wade Robson, at the hands of Michael Jackson, it's claimed. The Australian-born dancer choreographer revealed his secret family anguish in an amended complaint against the late king of pop's estate, obtained by RadarOnline.com, in which he claimed Jackson sexually abused him from the age of 7 for a period of 7 years. Wade, now 30, has become estranged from his dad, who said he was found hanged in 2002. I'll just give you some time to find the mistake. Michael Jackson haters, I know you don't have many brain cells, but just give it a minute. I got time, believe me. This will be a long video. Did you get it yet? Wade Robson claimed that he only recently realized what happened to him. So how could his father, who died 11 years ago, possibly blame Michael Jackson when he didn't even know this until 2 months ago? Not even you can be this stupid. Seriously. This is how the media works. This is how tabloids work. Okay? They will say anything. That article, link below. Okay. The next thing is, we're going to read a couple facts. A lot of this is in relation to the FBI files, okay? We're going to talk about what the tabloids say, and then the actual fact, okay? Here's the tabloid. Michael Jackson was investigated for possession of child pornography. I actually want to touch on this a little bit. Another thing that haters like to claim is how there were tons of books found with child pornography in Michael's house in 1993. I want to point out that all of those books do exist, okay? But it was proven in court that none of the books... Sorry, I apologize. I think it says 2003. Sorry. Anyway. The haters know what the books I'm talking about. Anyway, the point is, all these books were seized from his house. And it was proven in a courtroom that none of the books were legally considered child pornography. They were art books that happened to have naked children. There are many paintings and famous artworks all around the world that include naked children or naked people in general. That is not considered porn. Michael Jackson loved art. Okay? You cannot take something that is art and turn it around to make it seem like it's child pornography and he read it and masturbated to it all over the pages. That's fucking retarded. Additionally, Michael said in his own words that since he loved children, he would get tons of books sent to his house by random people, and many of the books weren't even opened. Another claim by haters, and of course Tom Sneddon is the one who brought his into court, another completely epic failure. Okay? This is yet another thing that is complete bullshit. And I'm going to relate this to another tabloid that came out years ago that, like most of the tabloids, was a normal thing that the media switched around to make them look crazy. For example, the media used to claim that Michael Jackson called alcohol Jesus juice to try and manipulate the kids into drinking it, when the reality actually was that Michael would put alcohol into bottles so that, you know, they wouldn't know what it is, and then he would call it Jesus juice for the purpose of saying to the kids, no, this is Michael's Jesus juice, only I can drink it. And therefore the kids wouldn't want it. If he walked around with a fucking vodka bottle, hey kids, want some fucking alcohol? That'd be much different. But of course the media switched it around and said, oh, Jesus juice was code for fucking pedophile drink. Drink it with me. Again, another tabloid that was switched around. And this is still happening today. Okay, the tabloids now are no different than that tabloid. But anyway, now let's continue reading this. So like I said, Michael Jackson was investigated for possession of child pornography. Now for the facts. The FBI file includes an analysis conducted on a videotapes connected to Jackson's in order to ascertain whether or not it included child pornography. Some media outlets erroneously claimed that the tape had been seized from Neverland. In fact, the tape was seized by customs at West Palm Beach, and there is no indication that it ever belonged to Jackson. The file states only that the tape was connected with Jackson, and the connection appears solely to be that the program recorded onto the cassette had Jackson's name in the title. The FBI file does not contain any indication that the tape included child pornography at all, and certainly does not contain any indication that the tape was ever in the possession of Michael Jackson. But that's not a particularly media-friendly story. A videotape that didn't belong to Michael Jackson was analyzed and didn't have any child porn on it. So the media told their own story instead, working on the assumption that nobody would read the files to verify the fact for themselves. Kind of like you. Next myth. The FBI file reveals that Jackson was investigated in 1985 for molesting 2 Mexican boys. The facts are, an FBI officer recorded an allegation that the Bureau had previously investigated Jackson in 1985 for the molestation of 2 Mexican boys. This allegation was made by an unnamed writer who said the story had been told to him during research for a book. The FBI researched its record and could find no evidence that any such allegations had ever been reported to them. But the majority of media outlets failed to mention mentioned an important fact. A simple oversight, I'm sure. Next one. The FBI found a couple in the Philippines who witnessed acts of molestation at Neverland. Fact. The couple, Mark and Faye Quindoy, had worked at Jackson's Neverland Ranch between 1989 and 1991, but left a dispute over pay. Between 1991 and 1993, neither ever made any complaint that Jackson behaved inappropriately around any child. However, after the 1993 allegations broke, the Quindoys began selling interviews about Jackson's alleged improper behavior. So basically they were just following Evan. Again, screaming lie. Okay? The pair's claims were suspect from the outset. They had left Neverland in 1991 in a pay dispute, but were now telling tabloids that the reason behind their departure was that they were appalled by Jackson's behavior around children, even though they couldn't say this in 91 or 92. Interesting. A provable fiction. Besides, if they had been so shocked and appalled by Jackson's behavior, why had they not contacted authorities? Again, they didn't contact them before 1993. Evan had to be first. Mark Quindoy's story changed repeatedly. The more money he was paid for his story, the more appalling the alleged molestation became. The prosecutors in the 1993 Jackson case settled 2 officers to Manila to interview the couple, but the officers concluded that their testimony was worthless and the credibility of their claims was highly questionable. Next, the FBI found that Jackson had engaged in phone sex with a British boy. Fact, this story comes courtesy of The Sun. The FBI file briefly references a newspaper story in which a man called Terry George claimed that Jackson, aged 19, had engaged in phone sex with him when he was just 13. The Sun was proud that the story was referenced in the FBI files because it was The Sun which published it in the first place. As such, the newspaper was quick to toot its own horn with the FBI investigation Jackson over Sunday's investigation type fanfare. In fact, the FBI did not investigate the claim, and to date, no evidence has been produced to support Terry George's story. In the story about the FBI file, The Sun repeatedly referred to the phone call between Jackson and Terry George as a matter of fact, even though no evidence has ever been produced to prove that the conversation ever took place. That includes phone records. George is a man of dubious character, to say the least, currently owning a string of smutty phone sex companies. His story doesn't seem to add up either. Despite Jackson's supposed inappropriate behavior, George's website carries a photograph of himself with the star more than 5 years after the phone call allegedly happened. The two still look like firm friends. In subsequent interviews, George had described how he lost touch with Jackson and resorted to behavior which could be described as stalking, calling Jackson all the time, hanging around outside his hotels, trying to bluff his way past Jackson's security more than anything. George's interview with The Sun seemed like an act of jealous revenge by an embittered former acquaintance. Either way, the FBI found no merit to George's claims, and of course, Diane Dimond was on Fox News this morning calling him a pedophile. Interesting development that is, eh? Okay. What's next? So we've got that out of the way. Now let's talk about each person. Martin Bashir made an interview back in 2002 with Michael Jackson, completely edited to make him look like a pedophile because it doesn't happen naturally. You have to edit it to make Michael Jackson look like a pedophile. And those are that was the interview that caused the allegations with Gavin Arvizo in 2003. Martin Bashir, after Michael Jackson died, felt guilty and admitted that he lied. So any Michael Jackson haters who still support Martin Bashir, you're not making much sense. Video below of Martin Bashir admitting that he lied. Next, Tom Sneddon. Oh man, this is going to be fun. Okay, Tom Sneddon has been proven time and time again to have falsified evidence in 1993 and 2003. Tom Sneddon was so desperate that he even went to Australia at one point to find random boys just to get more claims of molestation. Random boys, people who never even met Michael. Okay? Tom Sneddon was desperate. I don't even need to describe Tom Sneddon because he is the most evil man on the planet. There is mountains of proof proving that Tom Sneddon falsified almost his entire case in both cases, both the Chandler and Arvizo. Okay? Tom Sneddon, many lawyers have talked about Tom Sneddon, and all of them said that Tom Sneddon should be sued by the United States for falsifying evidence and wasting the taxpayers' money in the United States of America. Tom Sneddon is a sick bastard who falsified false information, false evidence for over 10 years. There is mountains and mountains of proof on this, and even the haters must know about it. There's no way that anybody could possibly support Thomas Sneddon. And the best thing I love about Sneddon is he retired on June 6, 2006, on 666. How fucking fitting. Tom Sneddon, you are a sick fuck. He failed miserably in 2005 with Janet Arvizo, and he failed in 1993, and he hated Michael since day one because he had a personal vendetta. But Tom Sneddon, all of his evidence was falsified, and that was a proven fact. You can't win this one. Next person, we're going to talk about Diane Dimond now. I already talked about her in a video I recently made. Well, not recently, but anyway. Diane Dimond lost all of her credibility. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because she's a fucking hypocrite. In 1993, she was fully on Michael Jackson's side. There was also a case in 1995. You can actually watch the video of that case from 1995, link below. Okay? This case shows a boy going into great detail about things that Michael did to him. And in the same news show, they literally say, yeah, I lied. Yeah, I made it up, sorry. I just wanted to lie. And before I continue with Diane, again, this is more proof of the consistent bullshit where things are just being made up. My question to the haters is, how can you see things being consistently proven wrong, consistently, even people admitting to it, like Martin Bashir admitting to it, or this boy admitting to it, things like that, and still consider that things in the future could possibly be true, if things in the past were proven wrong. There weren't some things that were fake and some things that were true. Okay, it's consistent for a reason. But anyway, it was proven right in the 1995 video. Diane Dimond was on Michael Jackson's side. She even went up to the guy and was like, what is with this shit? What are you talking about? Michael Jackson never did anything. And then 10 years later, Diane Dimond completely changes her tune and is against Michael Jackson. With no reason, no proof, no evidence, and no backup. Diane Dimond, fuck you. Who's next on my list? Bashir admitted, Tom Sneddon, done. Diane Dimond, done. Arvizo. Janet and Gavin Arvizo were proven to be liars in the court of law. Janet Arvizo has a history of, sorry, I forgot what I was saying now. Janet Arvizo has a history of suing people. She has a history of poverty, and she has a history of suing other people, such as JCPenney, to get money. Okay? That's not a coincidence. It's something she fucking does. There's proof that Michael Jackson never touched Gavin whatsoever. She was proven wrong in a court of law, and when she was questioned years later, her and Gavin ran away. Covered their heads and ran away because they were ashamed of what they've done. Okay? There's lots of evidence. I'll try and link some below if you want actual proof, but he was proven to be innocent in a court of law. Nothing ever happened with Gavin, and Janet is a known liar. Okay? This was proven in the court of law. Nobody was ever paid. There's proof of that as well. Again, I don't know what you people are thinking. Next, Chandler. First of all, Evan Chandler killed himself very shortly after Michael Jackson died. Of course, the haters had to stupidly go and say, oh, those fans were so awful to Evan. They drove him to kill himself. Do you really think that if it was the fans that drove Evan to kill himself, this would have just simply happened back in 1993? I'm sure people were much more mad at Evan back then than they were now, so that point doesn't even make any sense. He killed himself shortly after MJ died, and I strongly believe it was from guilt. But that's not a proven fact, so let's go to something that is factual. Back in 1983, there was a news story that released a taped phone conversation of Evan Chandler planning and talking about how he's going to frame Michael Jackson. If you can watch this and still call him a pedophile, you literally do not have a brain and you are completely hopeless and pathetic. Phone call video, link below. Let's see where we are. Martin Bashir, check. Tom Sneddon, check. Diane Dimond, check. Arvizo, check. Chandler, check. You've all been taken down at the hands of me. Let us continue with my next point. Anyway, the last segment of this video is going to be psychology-based. And how many haters like to believe that Michael Jackson's psychology fits the profile of a sexual predator. You obviously don't know what a sexual predator even does, but anyway. I explained this before, but Michael Jackson's psychology fits the profile of someone who is damaged from not having a childhood. Okay? Michael Jackson's obsession with children comes from two things. A, believing children have a future, like he says all the time. And the second thing is how Michael Jackson tries to relive the childhood he missed through these children that he invites over to his house, or they invite themselves over, actually, and has fun with them. They play games and they do all that stuff. The amount of proof that there is in support of Michael Jackson is quite crazy, to say the least. I just made like a 40-minute long video proving everything to be factual based. Michael Jackson's psychology, yes, Michael Jackson was a damaged man, but that doesn't mean he's a pedophile. He had children stay in his bed, and it's been proven he never did anything to them. Okay? Michael Jackson in himself does not fit the profile of a pedophile. He fits the profile of a depressed man with a missing childhood and wants to get it back while living it with or through children. That's the profile he fits, and it makes perfect sense. So I don't see, after everything, including the two things that MJ haters try and bring to me, which is the pornography books, which aren't porn, and the splotches, which have also been proven to be false. You guys have nothing left to stand on. So if you have any brains left, you will have taken this video and realized how brutally wrong you are, and that includes you, Mike, the supporting the Wade Robson thing. Understand that almost every tabloid you are now seeing is because of the AEG trial, which proves it to be false because, I mean, these things don't just come out at convenient times. They were planned because of the trial. Okay? And the very last thing I wanted to talk about that I actually forgot about was the tabloid about Michael Jackson's supposed sex alarm. Again, and something else that was taken out of context. Michael Jackson never had a child sex alarm. He had an alarm to his room, which was used for privacy purposes, which makes perfect sense when you're a big star with a huge house where people can steal things and people hate you, obviously. He had an alarm. Okay, it was proven, again, that nobody ever went into the room and saw anything, nothing ever happened behind those doors, and the alarm was used for privacy purposes, even when he was home alone. There was never anything used. There was never like somebody who walked in past the alarm and saw Michael Jackson fucking some kid in the ass. You know, there's no proof it happened, but there is proof that it didn't happen. Okay? You cannot just understand, okay? You cannot be like the media. You cannot just take normal things that people do, switch around the context, and say that someone's a bad person about it just because you took the words out of context and fit it to your own needs. That is not how the world works. I really hope that through all my insults today, you really heard the actual facts that are being stated. I'm going to link a lot of stuff below so you can prove I didn't just make it. I didn't just read this off of a blank screen and make it up. These are facts that are taken off of actual websites where people did research. Okay, what I write today is not tabloids. What I write today is not something that Diane Diamond pulled out of her ass. These are factual based. Okay? I'm done. Michael Jackson fans, whether if the haters believe this video or not, and whether if the tabloids continue or not, just know that we are fighting for what is real, for what is true. Okay? We are fighting for the facts. Michael Jackson's legacy will prevail. Love will prevail. And justice will be done one day when all of these people get the karma that they deserve. And Michael Jackson haters, I really, 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 truly hope that some of you manage to open your eyes to the truth by listening to this video and scrolling through all the articles I have linked below. And actually reading it with an open mind and realizing how dangerously wrong you've been all these years. You can't make a claim without proof. You just can't. Especially when you're accusing someone of touching children. You have to have proof to back it up. And not one single piece of proof was ever found, ever, in 40 years. Did you forget that even 80 cops raided Michael Jackson's house in 2003? 80 cops raided his house in 2003 and found nothing. Nothing, no evidence. Come on. Even the haters have to be smart enough to process just how stupid that is. But regardless, fans, we won. And we will always win. I'm done with this though. I need a break. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope some haters open their eyes. Thank you for watching. LOVE forever. And I'll see you all soon. Michael, I love you very much. Take care, everyone.